Having a bad meditation is something that we all experience when we begin to sit with ourselves. How can we transcend this? In this video, I want to explain to you how we transcend this idea that we have a bad meditation. Of course, to understand why we have a bad meditation, we always need to look at the opposite. What is it that supposedly is a good meditation? There are two ways that we normally create or fashion this idea that there is a good meditation. Initially, when we start meditating, we've probably heard that there is a blank mind, there is a peaceful mind, that there is a state of no thought, and so many other things that are associated with the idea of having a good meditation, or a proper meditation, or really meditating or not meditating. So all of this creates the expectation that when we sit, we're supposed to wait for something to happen that is aligned with that. That is, having no thought, having a blank mind, pushing away thoughts. So we start to engage in these activities that are not truly meditating, but trying to do something. And that is actually what it's causing the dissatisfaction with our sitting. It has nothing to do with a bad meditation. It is the dissatisfaction when we sit with ourselves because we're not achieving what we're supposed to achieve. Now, the other way that we can create the idea of a good meditation, right, that it's not referential anymore, but perhaps some experiences that we've had, maybe we sat one day and we had a blissful experience, or maybe we took some substances and we had a marvelous mystical experience as well, or anything of that kind that begins to give the mind now, instead of external references for what a good meditation is, or a proper meditation, or the idea that I am meditating when this happens, it begins to give now an internal experience, right? A reference, which is, I want to reach that state again. This is something that we hear often and that we all fall for it because we think that now that is the good meditation. So now that we know what a good meditation is conceptually, right, what we think is a good meditation, then the opposite is going to be a bad meditation, which of course is, if we have heard blank mind, still mind, no thought, whatever it is, whatever we have heard, read, we think that that is the good meditation, then the opposite is going to be a bad meditation. In other words, having thoughts, having conflict, having emotions, all these things. Or even boredom, right? Because it's not that beautiful experience that I had, or that peaceful state, or whatever it is. There's boredom, there is nothing's happening. So I'm not good at meditating. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, that I'm not reaching that state. So whatever the opposite is, it's going to be a bad meditation. Now, if you think about it, first, if we go through all the misconceptions about what a blank mind, still mind, no thought is, then we can distill all of that as being simply that you are meant to not interfere with what's happening in meditation. So we can see that, oh, okay, the reference that I had of a still mind is simply not interfering. Well, what are we doing when we are expecting a good meditation? Interfering with what's happening. Because whatever is happening is not appropriate, right? So we're saying, no, that's not good meditation. I suck at it. I'm not achieving that state, and so on. That's the interference that causes thought over thought. Thoughts are fine during meditation. It's the thought over the thought that causes the problem, right? It kind of jams the system. And that thought over the next thought is the I thought, the me thought that is supposed to be doing meditation. So when we realize this, we say, oh, so it doesn't matter what the content of my experience is. Yes. And as you begin to relax into whatever the content of my experience is, it's fine. It doesn't depend on whether I have no thoughts or a lot of thoughts, or if I have emotions or no emotions, peace or agitation, conflict. It doesn't matter, right? Because that is not the still mind. It's almost like stillness is not non-presence, right? If you're just watching nature, you're still. You're just observing. You're not interfering. You're just observing. That is stillness. It is not an absence of you. It is you present for whatever it is. It could be a very peaceful, non-agitated nature, or it could be very agitated. Wildlife running and doing things, and hunters just finding prey, or it could be anything, and you're just watching. Also, when we see that these blissful experiences, these mystical experiences, are simply the result of relaxing the mind to a point in which it feels this blissful experience, this realization, these insights, these so-called downloads, all of these are a result of relaxing the mind. And you don't relax the mind to have these experiences. They just happen spontaneously. So you don't have to be seeking. And more importantly, they're not the hallmark of a good meditation, if that ever exists. What we see as meditation is simply whether they could be blissful experience or no, that's okay. Whether there's a lot of thoughts or not, that's okay. Now, how do we transcend these supposed agitated states that we usually associate with not being in a meditative state? Well, here's something beautiful that happens, is that when you take away any expectation from your sitting, from what you are supposed to experience in sitting, then the mind can unfold as it wants. It's not being judged by another I thought, right? A me thought that is sitting there and saying, unacceptable, this is not it, I gotta sift through all of this. Right? It's not being judged. It's like a child not being criticized or trying to be controlled. It's just allowed to do whatever it wants. And in that freedom, we begin to experience a more peaceful state with our contents, with the contents of our minds, And that begins to translate into our day-to-day activities, because our mind continues to be active, of course. It's just that when we look inside, we're more permissive, we're less controlling, we're less constricting, and that allows the mind to just simply be. And because we're not seeking anything in particular during our sitting, we simply sit and allow anything that wants to happen in the moment to be. And we're not seeking anything. We're not seeking these experiences. We're not pushing away thoughts. We're simply sitting. There is no expectation of my mind. I have nothing to expect. I'm just simply sitting. No notion of what meditation is, because meditation is not something particular. And it ties in beautifully, of course, with what we always say. When you sit, just be yourself. The question is, who are you? Likewise, just because meditation cannot be defined, you cannot be defined. So just be yourself in meditation, which is just a pure awareness of whatever content of experience is arising. That's it. The more you sit in this relaxation, the more you stay in this knowledge of no expectation, that meditation is not anything in particular, but just the allowing of everything, then you rest in more peace, and that peace is translated into your daily lives. I hope this video is helpful. I have noticed that YouTube for the past couple of months have been reducing my reach because I didn't post for about 3 months, and that has been affecting the way my videos are distributed. So if you know anybody who is meditating and this video can be helpful, it would help me to reach more people if you can share it. I don't think I've ever asked this in my channel, but I noticed that YouTube didn't like that I didn't post for about 3 months. It's kind of just punishing me by not showing even to my own subscribers. So if you can, just share the video, post it somewhere, helpful stuff for meditation for anybody that can be helped. Don't send it to people that don't meditate, or maybe people who want to start meditating. It's a good idea because it's a very valuable concept. I hope it's a valuable concept for you. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.